Unity leadership, they can't help being the frickin' worst. The company's had some rough goings these past few months because of decisions made by leadership. Recall that in a few videos from months ago, I covered the whole situation involving how Unity tried to charge developers fees for game installations, which was extremely exploitable and rife with loopholes that would make it not viable for up-and-coming developers, especially, to make games on Unity, with indie devs in particular being most punished based on their fee structure. And that got so much outrage that got walked back real quick, which I covered in this video right here. They responded to the mass revolt from developers. And while the way they walked it back did resolve a lot of those qualms, where they set a ceiling in terms of percentage, they'll make it so that game installation fees can't exceed a certain amount. That made it a lot more reasonable. By then, the trust had been broken. Even if this payment, the renewed or the adjusted payment structure works, the way developers are thinking of Unity is, well, if they're willing to pull something like this now, what's the guarantee that they won't pull something like this again in the future, where out of the blue, they'll pull the rug from developers and change the rules on them willy-nilly and engage in business tactics that are compromising to developers. So with that trust lost, a lot of developers essentially decided to move on from Unity. And so bad was this situation that it contributed to the CEO of Unity, then CEO John Riccitiello, resigning following this whole debacle. John Riccitiello, for those who don't know, is that a former EA executive who made that whole speech about how he wants to charge microtransactions when people reload their guns, charge for bullets mid-game and stuff like that. His vision for what gaming should be and the kinds of tactics he wants to engage in are shady as all hell, and I'm glad that he's out. But unfortunately, not all negative aspects of Unity leadership is out. Plenty of executives who contributed to the degradation of Unity are still very much present, and that degradation continues with the decision to lay off 25% of Unity staff, which is roughly 1,800 jobs across its workforce. 25%, a quarter of the company. This is without question one of the biggest layoffs we have ever seen in the gaming industry. And it's happening just a little over a week into 2024. The year's barely started, and already we're getting mass layoffs. As if 2023 wasn't bad enough, this seems to indicate ill omen for the kind of treatment we'll see developers experience throughout 2024, with corporations just not caring about the talent that made the companies what they are right now. More and more, the games industry is proving to be one of the least attractive employment opportunities you could pursue, one of the most volatile, least stable, and that's just gonna push talent away from this industry. As for how Unity justified this, they said that they're making cuts as it restructures and refocuses on its core business and to position itself for long-term and profitable growth. Basically a typical corporate PR statement and typical corporate goals. They just, they want to make money. Leadership fucked up. They made decisions that screwed over the company and its future prospects. And who gets to pay the price? Of course, the developers and the staff, who had no influence in making the decisions that brought about all the negative PR surrounding Unity. No doubt that the mass backlash and negative PR surrounding Unity's attempt to charge developers fees for game installations had a role to play in just how many employees were laid off. No doubt that that did have a severely negative impact on their business, especially with John Riccitiello having to resign and leadership having to be restructured and stuff like that. No doubt that this is on some level Unity's attempt to compensate for all of those negative developments that were a result of leadership failures. And what makes all this especially egregious is that this isn't even the first round of layoffs for Unity. They've been laying off people left and right throughout all of 2023. There's this website called videogamelayoffs.com that keeps track of all of the layoffs that have occurred year by year starting 2022. And in the year 2023, if we search Unity, you'll find that they show up 3 times throughout the course of 2023. In early 2023, specifically January 17th, they laid off 300 people. And then on May 2nd, 2023, they laid off an additional 600 people. And then scrolling further up, we can see right here that on November 2023, they laid off an additional 265 people. And now you can stack 1,800 more staff developers, workers on top of that who have been laid off. Now, The Verge made it a point to highlight that it's not clear whether Unity is cutting 1,800 additional workers on top of the layoffs announced last year, or whether the 1,800 encompasses layoffs that happened in 2023. But regardless, we're looking at what seems to be the biggest mass layoff in recent memory. In 2023, some of the highest figures we saw was 830 people laid off by Epic Games on September 28th, 2023. And then we have this number right here, roughly around 1,000 from Shaoxi Guangyan, which is a Chinese company. Unity's layoff of over 1,800 people completely blows all those figures out of the water. And that's after the fact that in 2023, Unity's layoffs accounted for the most impactful layoffs that year. It was a significant contributor to the fact that in 2023, over 10,000 game development employees were laid off. And just a little over a week into 2024, we're already like a tenth of the way there to beating that record. I don't know how this is sustainable. I don't know how the games industry can hope to attract top-tier talent like this when top-tier talent look at the instability of this industry and figure maybe their talents are better spent elsewhere. The people who get into the games industry and into game development really love their jobs. That's the only reason that they're willing to deal with all this nonsense. But man, something's got to change. Unionization has to happen, and there's got to be some kind of protection because stuff like this is just aberrant. And Unity in particular, they already kind of screwed over developers with their attempt to charge fees for game installations, which disrupted many game developers, especially indies who, trusted in Unity and now no longer have that trust and have to work towards shifting to new game engines and have to be wary of stuff like this. But now on top of that, the developers within Unity are also being screwed over. The people who made the engine possible, the people who make all of Unity's services possible are being completely just seen as disposable tools. And man, unless there's some kind of major leadership overhaul at Unity, it's very difficult to be optimistic about future prospects for it, despite the fact that Unity plays or I don't know, maybe that'll change, but they at least used to play a major role in the game development scene. So many developers have relied and continue to rely on Unity, but that may very well change if this is the kind of thing we can expect from Unity at a consistent pace. But the main thing is developers, man, they don't deserve it. The people who actually make the things that we enjoy, the people who have no culpability in the leadership decisions from suits who are just there for money go up, essentially. And that pursuit being the very reason why leadership makes such shitty decisions. The fact that it's developers who are constantly made to be the scapegoats is just so consistently incredibly frustrating to see. We'll see if Unity will bounce back from this, but man, from the trust that they have tarnished from developers who use Unity to, them not treating their own staff and developers properly and clearly just not managing the company properly. Things seem to be going downhill due to just a baffling level of mismanagement. I'll keep you guys updated if more important developments occur surrounding Unity. In the meantime, though, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the future prospects of Unity. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.